Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Richard Koritz, and I'm proud to be the co-host of You Gotta Laugh to Keep from Crying with my good brother, my excellent friend, and fellow fighter for justice, O.W. Sweeney. Hey, Brother Sweeney.
As the song say, back together again, my brother.
Yes,
back
sir.
together again.
Yes, sir.
To give a little news to the people,
Sponsored by
North Carolina
Triad Jobs with Justice.
Where you can reach us at
336-272-2758. And today, we're having another show where it's you and me chewing over and trying to grapple with the news, the gospel.
To give the people something to think about.
The gospel, the good news.
That's right.
But also, unfortunately, a heavy dose of the bad news that we can try to help.
As long as we're not lying to the people, we're on the right track.
And as long as we're telling them the truth,
We're
on an excellent track.
That's right.
Okay. And I know that that's what both of us aim to do. So today I really wanted to, and you've agreed, I wanted to share with our members of the audience, viewing audience, why I'm proud to be a left-wing talk show host and not a center, middle of the road, milquetoast or right-wing talk show host.
Well, basically because you like to stand up for your principles and what's good for the people. The people, the working class people.
Right. And against the billionaires and their tools. And that's when we get called, those of us that get called left-wing,
Yes.
that's certainly when that's used
It's
as
more
a
of
negative.
compliment than anything.
It should be a compliment because,
No, not should be. To my opinion, it's more of a compliment than anything.
okay. One of the things that makes it so clear why we absolutely need to have left-wing people leading educational television programming.
I mean, just because they right don't mean they right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing righteous about them either.
No.
Yeah. Right.
No.
Okay. So, but I think the
Can
trip.
you give them an example?
Yeah. Yeah. The truth is Trump.
Okay.
And
Now elaborate.
yeah. Okay. Trump, our president, not our president, but the
President of the United States.
the president of the United States, who a lot of the 2024 election was about how he was able to intimidate, lie, cheat, and steal. And as you pointed out so sharply, during the course of the campaign, he was able to solicit the billionaires for their all-out support for his tax cut promise to them, because as you and I know, that unrighteous, vicious tax cut that these billionaires and other super rich people were given in the previous Trump administration, that's expiring, and they've got to come up with, if they don't come up with something they can get past we the people in Congress, then they're going to be.
You mean we the left side of the people who know that ain't nothing but a crooked scam?
It's by us, and therefore
to
by
fatten the rich pocket. To fatten the rich pocket that's already fat.
Right. And so one of the first things right now in Congress, they're now debating and discussing the promised tax cuts, and as is reported in this newspaper, the Greensboro News and Record, today's, I gotta get to the right page here. That they're now having this this is a quote from today's May 14 Greensboro News and Record. GOP reveals Trump's tax breaks, but costs run high. So even these editors at the News and Record are admitting that. And the numbers are staggering. Some $5 trillion in tax breaks. And it's supposedly going to be offset by $1.9 trillion in tax savings, largely from green energy rollbacks. Okay, that means the dangerous global warming that we've seen manifestations over the last couple of years in the California forest fires.
Let's go back to the last decade.
And the western North Carolina,
Yes.
just the last year,
Yes.
in the last year or so, with those devastating floods and all.
Hurricanes coming through here, tearing things up.
Right. And now the Trump regime is stripping the National Weather Service.
Everything they can.
But including at the very time when the weather is becoming more and more extreme because of global warming, the Trump forces, with Doge and his boss, Elon Musk, are stripping us of the National Weather Service's valuable projections to warn the people in every part of the country when there are these horrible weather events coming up. And so this is part of the savings that the News and Record is talking about, Trump talking about, to make it seem like it's going to be less of a blow to the taxation of the country.
Of the working class people of this country.
Absolutely.
Right.
I appreciate the correction.
Okay,
That's absolutely
because
right.
we know
The
the rich gonna get richer,
right. And
the poor gonna get poorer.
Yeah, and the billionaires ain't paying crap.
But they're getting the money,
Yeah, they sure are.
getting your and my working Joe money, the working folks.
Right. Like we
Mary
know,
Jane.
Yeah. Right. Because we know that Musk himself, the senior partner, has made billions more just since Trump has gotten in office.
Well, I don't know. That Tesla thing might have shook him up a little bit.
Well, that's the people. That's we the people starting to fight back.
Yeah,
And
yes.
that's a good thing. So, but, and it's interesting because in this article about the debate going on in Congress, so Trump isn't even in the country while the debate is going on in Congress. He's on the other side of the world. And as I like to put it, Elon Musk isn't his only boss that he answers to. Trump is there speaking at a forum in the Middle East, saying Congress was, quote, on the verge of passing the largest tax cut and regulation cut in American history. So I'm sure his bosses in those three Arab kingdoms, which are the only three countries he's visiting on this trip to the Middle East, are pleased with his report.
All those dictators.
All those dictators.
Yes.
Yeah.
What he wants to be or what he is.
Yeah, and he's trying to be.
And,
He's
did
doing his
anybody
best.
bring up $31 trillion? This country's in debt, and they want to do what? Give the rich more money
Exactly.
and put us more in debt.
Right. But so I think that's the, and as you always like to talk about the
B word.
the B word, the bribe word, so now there's a new bribe on the block.
A big one too, huh?
Yeah, very big, and it also starts with a B. It's or it's only a half a B. It's a 400 plus
I thought it was
million.
600.
It's a 400 plus $1 million plane. So it's got about $500 million.
Yes.
And you know, in the emoluments clause of the U.S. Constitution, that says that foreign kings and all, because this was back in a day when mostly it was kings and maybe some queens that were ruling around the world. That's one improvement that took place, was we got rid of an awful lot of them, but there's still one is more than more than enough, yeah. But the Emoluments Clause, OW, mentions that the amount of money that that a gift can be worth and be accepted by a U.S. government official is less than $200. Okay. So now let's see. Trump is now talking about accepting a personal gift while he's the President of the United States, and as President of the United States, of at least $400 million. So that's about, well, it's 2 million times the permissible amount, and those can only be granted to any government official, including the President of the United States, with the consent of the U.S. Congress. So here's another place in the Constitution, and our good videographer John, gave me the Article 1, Section 9, and Clause 8. That's the Emoluments Clause, and in it. It emphasizes only with the consent of Congress, which again shows that so much else in the Constitution does, that Congress, if there's one branch that's more than the other two, it's the U.S. Congress. And so that's the way the Emoluments Clause reads. And as John and we
Those are the ones supposed to be representing the people, aren't they?
They're the closest to the people, absolutely, yeah. And instead, they're bowing to the new king, Trump, and particularly the Republicans are doing so, right now. But as our friend John and videographer said, this to him looks like it's going to be too big a violation, too open a violation of the U.S. Constitution for even these shameful Congress people to go along with, because it's so clear, and it's exactly as we know. That clause exactly speaks to this kind of graft, grift, corruption, and the B word that you love to use. Yeah.
But my thing is,
yeah.
Under the Constitution, it states that that Congress, now where is those congressional Democrats pointing this out to this king and to the public what should be done if he accepts this gift?
Right.
Put them Republicans on notice that you're going to raise hell about it.
That's the I word, impeachment. And that is certainly, in this kind of a violation at that level, that would be grounds
for impeachment.
For impeachment of this president, this rogue president. And
dictator.
Well, we know he's a dictator, and actually...
But you said president. This rogue president is a dictator.
Well, the rogue president is a dictator. And he is the junior... Wait a minute. And he's the junior partner of Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And so, I want to get back to the point I made about the fact that I'm proud to be a left-wing commentator on our show and working with you, because in the course of the class struggle, and you and I have been friends and trade union brothers an awful long time, and both of us have been considered militants.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, we see that, like the rich see, we also see that there's a zero-sum game between the rich and the poor. There's a zero-sum game between labor and capital. And we're seeing that being played out, or on our backs and all.
It's basically trickle-down economics.
That never managed to trickle.
Yes, it does. I'm probably the only person in this country that believes trickle-down
economics.
Spit
it out, brother.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because See, when it trickles down, when
Yeah.
it gets to the bottom, it ain't nothing there for you.
Oh, okay. Well, that I've seen that. Yeah. And so have our millions and millions of brothers and sisters
That's
in
right.
this country.
That's right.
That's what. Yeah.
But some of us still go out there and vote for them people who talk about this
Well,
and trickle down.
and in all fairness,
Because they think let's put it this way.
Go ahead.
If them billionaires get what they want,
Right.
and they give you $2,000, you still ain't got nothing.
Right. Absolutely.
All right?
Yeah.
And above all things, I'm going to go back to this $31 trillion debt
Okay.
that we citizens of the United States of America have on our back.
Yeah, we're shackling our grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
And their
with these-
great-grandchildren and
that's right.
great-grandchildren.
Yeah. Right. So, but anyway, so what I was saying about being a left-wing commentator is that we clearly have seen, most of us who are left-wing people have clearly seen this kind of theft that's been committed against the working people of not only the United States, but as you like to say, the circumference of the world.
325,000 miles,
Right.
the circumference of the planet Earth.
Right. And instead of
Workers need to stick together.
us sticking together with our fellow workers around the world, we've followed too many times these wealthy
Divide
people.
and conquer.
Right. And Wall Street has laughed all the way to their banks because they
can't laugh too hard.
basically
They're scared they might drop some cash.
right. But they are laughing, and they've used that divide and conquer. The whole idea about the Republicans and the Democrats. Once you start hearing about the Republicans and the Democrats from the political commentators, you know they're leading you astray already, because the difference between them is what? The difference between Senator Schumer from New York and Senator McConnell from Kentucky, and what is that difference? Where is that difference? As Biden used to say, McConnell was his good friend, and the guy from West Virginia, the senator.
I thought you
yeah.
wanted to know one use grease and the other one don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that because we're in mixed company.
Hey, it's still fat.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
And as far as being left wing,
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago I read in the News and Records, it was in the letter to the editors, and this guy was talking about he was having a conversation with his friend, and this guy was talking about, well, this guy is a left wing this and a left wing that and a left wing this and a left wing that, or they ain't no good. And he said to his friend, well, so wasn't Jesus Christ?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because Christ didn't stand up for the rich. He fought for the poor.
Yeah.
That's why he died.
And he shook
For
up a
defending
lot
the
of
poor.
the were they money temples or whatever it was. I mean, I'm not
Money. It wasn't so much the money, it was so much the truth that he was telling. Because he was a carpenter, but he wasn't laboring in broadcasting get rich schemes and do this to people and
right.
bring on capitalism.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna admit, we need capitalism, but we don't need blood-sucking capitalists.
Yeah.
The capitalist I want to see is where it's spread around to everybody.
Well, I think those days are gone, brother. I
said
hate
I wanted to see. I ain't said we're gonna see him again.
Yeah, I think that's where and you and I love each other, but we have our differences tactically.
That's right.
We have some tactical differences, but we both want to see justice for the common man, woman,
That's
and
right.
child.
The working Joe.
The working Joe
working
and Joanne. Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. The ones out there working, not from 9 to 5, from 9 to 12, and be back again in the morning at 9 o'clock.
And then
from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m.
And some of them having to take care of their children.
Kids.
And,
How can
and
you
some,
take care of your kids?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But yet you got these righteous Republicans calling themselves conservatives that want to give tax breaks to people who don't need the money.
Yeah, and even though they all know that the richer the people who get the tax breaks, the less that even helps generate economic activity, because they're just using it.
Well,
to
isn't that
invest.
why we call them Wall Street? Because they take that money and put it in investment to make them some more money.
Yeah,
Now you giving these people tax break. They talking about well, they'll go out here and put out and provide for jobs. These people didn't get rich by spending money.
right.
They got rich by holding on to it.
Right. I wanted us to go to with this theme about the left wing versus the centers and the right wing. I wanted us to go into the subject that was raised, and again, in today's News and Record by a black journalist from the New York Daily News named Leonard Green. And what Mr. Green talked about is under the title in the News and Record, Nichols' verdict should outrage us all. And Mr. Green pointed out that at the same time as there was smoke being blown around the world about the Pope and the new Pope and all of that, that in Memphis, Tennessee, at the very top of the Mississippi Delta, 3 police officers were quietly acquitted, this is his words, of abusing their power and brutally beating a black man to death. Now, the reason that I wanted us to discuss this around the question of left wing is neither you nor I is paternalistic toward the question of black cops. We see that they are also part of this white supremacist system and
Well, who are they
its
representing?
perpetuation.
When they're upholding the law, who are they representing?
Yeah, whose law are they? Because Tyre Nichols was a 29-year-old father and FedEx worker. So he worked for a rival company to us, but he was doing some of the work that we were doing.
Don't mean he should be murdered.
That's for sure. Quite the opposite. He was a working class man,
right,
supporting his family with his regular work, and he was beaten to death by 5 of these cops. They were all black men, and they were from the Scorpion Division of the Memphis Police Department. Scorpion Task Force was the name of the department.
Sort of like the Navy SEAL. It was a special operation group. So.
Right. And they were special, all right. They were especially brutal. And according to Leonard Green, this black journalist, there wasn't nearly enough outrage about the murder of Tyre Nichols because of the fact that these cops were black men themselves. So I want to just read.
Representing the establishment.
Representing the white power structure,
That's right.
the white supremacist power structure, and the billionaires, basically at the bottom line.
Keeping them people in line.
Yeah. So I want to just read this, the end of Leonard Green's column in today's News and Record. Black cops, even in Memphis, represent a largely white institution that has tormented people of color for generations. Race aside, police brutality by anyone, against anyone, should outrage everyone. Very well put by Mr. Green. And that's something that let's say as a left-wing person, and my dad went to prison for the crime of defending a black picketer in Winston-Salem on a picket line against white cops. And my dad was considered white, or not to the cops maybe because he was Jewish, and they used some bad names for him as well. But that's the reality of it. Just like those white cops in Winston-Salem were beating on him and black picketers.
That's right.
That's these black cops in Memphis at the height, at the center point of the Mississippi Delta, the most oppressed and exploited sector, of the U.S. population,
Yes.
where
The Black Belt South.
in the heart of the Black Belt South, and where Wall Street has been the biggest landowner over the last 3 or 4 generations at least. And there it is, Memphis. And that's also where King was killed during the sanitation
Which
workers'
means there
strike.
should have been more hell raised.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So anyway, but I hope our viewers
understand
why I'm proud to be a left-wing political commentator in this community
The only
of
problem with
Greensboro.
that is when they call you left wing, they kind of associate you with the Democrat, and I know that's not your style.
I love you, brother, and one of the reasons is we know that
in our unity lies our strength.